Can you get rid of the circles at the top where you're keeping track of the questions answered? We need a different way to do this, but we're going to do a study for that. So let's do this. Let's use the full screen version of the app for all of them. So we're going to use that, replace all of the modules. So delete the YouTube controls one, and then replace the original 3 with the full screen variant, less the question circles at the top. Those should be removed. And then can we do a study in the design/studies folder with 5 variants of what it looks like to have questions answered. And this is not just for the video modules, this will be for every module. I really like the idea of using the top bar. So in the top right where it says mastery and it tells you how many questions, I want some sort of score. The challenge that we have is that the mechanism for calculating which questions or which exercises have to be answered is dynamic. So there's not a fixed number of questions. In the case of the calibration, it's a kind of a binary search tree, and so depending on which path you go down, you might have to answer fewer or more questions. But then also in the case of normal exercises, like if a child is learning to add, the way that we choose the exercises is based on a deck of cards. So the idea is the deck starts with some number of cards in it for each exercise, and then if the child gets it wrong, then all of those, essentially if a child gets it correct, the card gets discarded. If a child gets it wrong, then all of the same variant of that card gets shuffled back into the deck. And so if they're making mistakes, they have more cards to go through. And so the total number of cards is not like, you can't just say like, oh, you answered 10 questions and so you're done, because the total number of questions having to be answered might be a lot more than 10. So let's come up with a variant to deal with the fact that we have kind of this dynamic score system that has to be communicated clearly. Okay, one a little wrinkle that so I like number two, but it actually is a little bit um, well. First of all, we need to figure out how it's going to look for the binary search case. Um, I guess number three looks like it could be pretty easy, like because you would just the meter would advance by however many questions are no longer in the search, like however many were pruned, and then the remaining would be how many are left. But for number two, first of all, I don't know how you would make it work for the binary search, and then also we have a problem that the way that we construct the deck is actually it's a fractional deck. So for questions like like if you're working on addition and you're working on adding uh, up to 20, let's say, so you're adding like 10 plus 10 is the new thing that you're learning, and so by that point you already have a very good understanding of 1 plus 1, and so we actually don't want to have every single card in the deck because that would just flood the deck with a bunch of cards that you already know. We want to bias to the new knowledge that you haven't yet learned. And so there might be zero point 0.1 cards of 1 plus 1 in the deck, which just means that we sample among all the sub 1 probability cards. But what that means, so the reason we put a 0.1 is so that the chance on startup that you get that card is pretty low. But if you make a mistake, we now want to put full cards of that card in. So let's say like the reset amount is 3. Well, if there's a 0.1 card drawn and it gets answered incorrectly, then we want to put 3 of those cards in. And so actually the deck size will increase for if some of those that are answered incorrectly are if the deck started out with less of them than the reset amount, if that makes sense. So can we add a few new variants to the answer progress study that address this additional concern? I like the number 2 and number 3, but I would use the crown instead of mastery. So I like the iconography from number 4. So I would combine number 3 and number 4 with a meter. I'm confused at how the sliding up um, of the playback bar works on the. Well, let's see. Never mind. Okay, can we use... Can we do another few variants? I want the crown from number 8 and the concept from number 2. Can we combine those? Okay, so the crown just looks janky. Can you, well, first of all, the edges of the crown don't look right, but can you not make any separation between them? Just make a crown cleared and in play, and it's always going to be an integer number, the total, even if individual cards might be fractional. Can you use the uppercase font? Add a variant 10 that's like variant 9, but using uppercase font, and then get rid of the +3. And then also get rid of the bullets. Just use separation and space to group the cleared with its number and in play with its number. Okay, can we use variant 10, the middle one? So cleared and in play. And oh, hello, how's it going? H1404. I'm working on an app to teach 3-year-olds to read. I bought a daycare a couple of years ago with about 100 kids, and I mean, not all of them are 3-year-olds, but we've got 9 3-year-olds reading so far before their 4th birthday, and we're trying to increase the percentage of kids that are reading before their 4th birthday. On the younger cohort, we already have roughly 60% of them will read before their 4th birthday, and we're aiming to get that to 100%. So the younger cohort is doing much better than the current cohort, but it can still be improved. So that's what I'm working on. So I'm just designing an app for this in Claude Code. I'll show it to you in a second. And use that for all these screens. Can I ask how you found my stream? I don't get a lot of viewers, so it's a welcome welcome to have a visitor. Sorry, don't lull. I don't know what that's referring to. So here, let me show you what the. Can you see my screen? I hope you can see my screen. I haven't actually tested the. So here, app, prototype. So basically, the core of the app is these cards. So like this is the child's interface. The idea is you can give the child a tablet and it'll track his or her progress, and basically dynamically have a one-on-one fine-tuned curriculum just for that child, and then the teacher knows exactly where that child is, and they can target their learning for that specific child rather than having like a blanket, blanket lesson for the class that is not, most of the kids in class are not going to be at that level. And then the thing that is different about our curriculum is like we have a dependency-based graph of everything that there is to learn. And so, for example, like we take reading. So first you got to learn to repeat sounds. It starts right from birth. So all the skills that you might need to build up from birth, naming letters, sounding out letters, hearing letter sounds, and then turning those into written letters, and then finally reading. You have spelling, you have math, so basic math, and adding and subtracting, double-digit numbers, and then multiplication and addition, or multiplication and division. And so you have this curriculum that builds on itself, and it's all dependency-based rather than age-based. So the idea is you don't have to wait. If a child is speeding ahead, we want to move them as fast as possible instead of waiting until they turn some specific age. Can you modify the header, or sorry, the footer at the bottom of the questions the go to the question button is too close to the bottom because it has a I guess a stroke on the bottom border. That border ends up being closer to the bottom than the top is, and so it just looks bottom heavy. So can we offset it by a few pixels up to be closer to the top of the footer? And after that, can you please export the file for NeoCities? Can you please, oh, oops. Oh, I see. Okay. By the way, I did not see your comment. Sorry, it got spam blocked. Are you still here? I had to go to the Twitch interface. One sec. Let me fix that in my. Let me see. Can you please update my stream overlay inside my home directory settings so that when a comment is sent on Twitch, but it's held back like for moderation, I still want to see it in the stream overlay because I just had somebody that messaged me, but I didn't see their comment in time. So what I want is just show it to me, but show it with like some sort of warning or whatever, so that I know that I have to switch to Twitch to deal with it. Okay. Oh, I see. Where are you from? Sorry, I've gotten the feedback that I speak too quickly. So I'm just working on the first few modules. Essentially, here this is the getting started. So I just want to like introduce people to the platform, and then once they do that, they do all the early development stuff. So things like for babies, tracking faces, sound, babbling, all this stuff that's for like up to a 1-year-old. And then after that, get with the reading. A lot of these I've already implemented, but a year or two ago. But I was doing it myself instead of with AI, so it was a lot slower. And so now I just need to I have all the videos. I just need to put them together. All right, so let's see here. What was it looking for? Oh yeah, I'm just this button looks good. I'm cheating also. I'm trying to get okay, so if it's paused. Okay. I think that's probably pretty good. Just a little bit of a weird jank there. You're from North Africa. Which country? Is it Morocco, Egypt? I'm currently in Michigan in the United States. Okay, we're gonna keep this. And now, okay, do you still have access to the lessons I already uploaded? Can you please create modules for each of those? So the existing modules are good. Actually, let me try the skill calibration. But I think they're good. And we just want to, all the videos that we already have, I want to add them into the curriculum. And now update the map editor and the map. So the map editor should show only the modules that we have inside the sidebar as being completed. Don't show any other modules in there. Or sorry, show all the modules, but how we have like planned versus like the transparent planned ones versus the normal ones in the map editor. The ones that are planned are all the ones that do not appear in the modules list in the sidebar. And so there should be a like a master list or a master JSON or something that you have that keeps both of those in sync. So instead of that module section in the sidebar, instead of calculating it dynamic or statically, it should be dynamically calculated based on which modules we have files for the implementation. And so the map editor should be a lot emptier. Algeria, okay, very cool. So I'm actually using TypeScript for both the front end and the back end. But I mostly don't look at the code anymore because the tools have gotten so good that you don't need to look at the code. You just tell it kind of what you want. You still have to know what's going on under the hood if you want to do a good job. But I don't need to worry about the specifics of the language. The only reason I use TypeScript is because my feeling is that having one language across the code base is easier than having two, the same way that it is for humans. And specific to TypeScript, you can use a shared, like I think if you have strong typing, it reduces the number of errors for AIs as well as for humans. And so TypeScript gives you an easy way to do shared typing because you can use these same API interface declarations for both the back end and the front end. And so now you can never have it where the back end changes, but then the front end doesn't keep up because that would flag a build error. So you wouldn't have to wait till runtime to know that there's an error. There's other ways of doing that with across multiple languages, right? Like you can use protobufs or whatever it is. But with TypeScript, it's just much easier because it's just a shared import. And so it makes it very easy to do that. Okay, so we'll do this. What are you working on? Are you still in school, or are you working on your own project, or what are you up to? can you please do the following? So I want to sync all the changes. I want to sync all the changes from Claude Design, and then I want you to come up with a plan to do the following. I want Claude Design to be the main way that I build individual modules, because each module is pretty simple. But I want a shared infrastructure layer, like a shared API layer, where Claude will design the front end to meet the spec. So this is like the module, I forget what it's called, but there's like a module.tsx or whatever that gives you kind of all the API that you need to implement a module. And so I want something like that, but look at it carefully and make sure that it's a clean interface. So it might, don't use the existing code, just look at it and come up with something that is better than what is already there, but meets kind of the same need. The one caveat is I do want these shared TypeScript API types. So between server and front end, I want it to not be possible to have a type mismatch. So those should be there. So things like typed fetch, that should remain. But the Claude Design will not use those directly. It'll just use the API. So the API that you expose to Claude Design should be very, it should be independent of backend. And specifically, when I'm developing in Claude Design, I want to work on the module, and it should just work normally, and I should be able to test it and play with it. And all that it's missing is the syncing to the backend, but everything else works. And then when I sync the specs down to the code base, all that happens is that they use a different backend. So they use a different plugin that just makes it so that it talks to the backend and like knows about the student and saves the progress of each module. So each module, as I do stuff with it, it should be able to save progress. It should keep track of its progress. And what I want you to do is create a plan for Claude Design. So I'm going to paste that plan into Claude Design. And that way it knows how to use the interface that you've created for it. So create the interface, create a plan or prompt that I can paste into Claude Design, and it will need to save its own notes of the plan. So please make sure to mention that in the plan, that like, hey, save this, because this is how you're going to deal with the module building in the future. And also update these specs for yourself so that you know, in case that API ever changes, you'll need to, essentially, I don't want to have to repeat all these instructions. I want you to know how to update the interface, and you'll know to tell Claude Design, you'll know to tell me to tell Claude Design what to do in order to update all the modules, let's say, to use an updated interface parameter or something like that. You need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the backend languages basics in Roadmap. Yeah, I mean, the way I would start, like if you were my son, and this is the way that I'm teaching my son, is I would just start by building something. Like just pick something useful that you would want to build, and just build it, and then, whoops, and that way you. It's a lot easier to learn stuff when you need it in order to achieve something than when you're just trying to learn it with no real purpose. And so I would literally try to like find an app that you want to exist that doesn't exist and try to build it yourself. Yeah, go that route. Updated specs with new designs, new map. Sorry, and just to be clear, this is for the pre-supplied repo. Okay. Do you have ideas? I can give you ideas if you don't know what to build. I mean, I can try to give some ideas, but it's better if it comes from you because then the motivation is there, right? You'll know why that thing is useful internally, rather than me having to justify it to you. Okay, so we got our stuff in, and here we go. So we got those in. Let's see. Oh, we gotta download this one. And upload. Why are we not seeing? Okay. When I upload to NeoCities, I don't see any of the modules. Is there some way to include that in the export? I know that each module is a separate file, and we want to keep it that way, but is there some way in the packaging of it to make the modules all part of the HTML? H144, do you have any sort of AI subscription? Like, do you have Claude Code or OpenAI's Codex? You don't. Okay. I would even use the free version. Like, have you used ChatGPT? If you're just wondering like how to build something, it's probably good enough that it'll at least point you in the right direction. If you're confused or if you have questions, I basically don't use Google anymore because the AIs are so much more powerful than Google was. Like it can explain like if you want to understand something, it can just explain exactly how that thing works and in your language style, right? So if you don't understand a specific thing, you can kind of like keep prompting it. Okay, this one looks like a big file. No, it's not a big file. Okay. Let's see. Is this one going to show me the modules? Oh, yes it will. Okay. Okay, and now on the map, so tracking faces. Delegated, okay. So okay, on the map, I need to change a couple things. First of all, when I select a module, the blue outline, it goes over top of the play tripod and the mastery crown. It needs to be underneath. So similar to the brown outline when you hover, the blue one needs to be the same. And then I need in the menu that comes up on the side, in the side drawer, there needs to be a way to do the mastery and to watch the videos. And then one thing so first of all, can we do a study for what that looks like? So just do a study with 5 variants. So we can explore some examples. And then one thing I didn't realize is that there might be multiple videos per lesson or per module. I don't remember if I had that in the ones that I uploaded for you, but can you check if there are? And then can you do a separate study to show what it looks like when there are multiple videos? There should be some sort of picker. Like when I click watch videos, there should be a picker to choose. Is there anything else? No, I think that's it. But the picker should only come up when there are multiple videos for a module. So if there's a module with only one video, it should just play immediately. But otherwise, it should let me pick if there's multiple. In the sidebar, when I click one of the prerequisites or the unlocks, the zoom behavior is not well done. The way that it should work is it should first zoom out the screen in the direction of that prerequisite or unlock. So it should zoom out until both of them are visible, and then only once that's done, then it should zoom back in towards the one that I clicked on. Okay, so it's like a zoom out smoothly until it's visible, and then zoom in to that one. And let's see if I do tensor. Okay, and the same behavior should happen when I search. So when I'm zoomed way in on a module and then I search for a different module, it should zoom me out in the direction. So from wherever my map is, it should zoom me out in the direction of the module I searched for. And then once that one is fully in view, then it should zoom in towards that module being centered on the screen. Can you please make sure we use .tsx everywhere? No JSX. And then we want Claude Design to make sure that the save state is actually usable. So every time a module is built by it, there should be some sort of test that makes sure that its save state can recover, and that save state needs to be versioned per module, because as the modules change, we might need to update those. So the way that it's versioned is there should be a version on the state, and there should be a migrator that essentially is just a list of JavaScript functions that takes an existing state and then updates it from one version to the next, on and on until it reaches the latest one in the migrator. So however many functions there are, that's the version number, and that should be derived based on the number of migrations there are. And one more thing, can you please make sure that the NeoCities homepage is exported to design/export rather than design/app, because we can't sync it because it's too big. So that just needs to be in a separate, it's a build artifact. It doesn't need to be in the design directory, or not in the design/app directory. Okay, let's see what it did here. Where are avatars? No, we need export logo studies. Where did you put the modules? Project. Where did you put all the modules? Where did you put all the modules that you built? Okay, so we have these drawer actions. Drawer actions. In the drawer actions study, the mastery button needs to be the same gold as the crown icon, and then the button on watch videos needs to be the same tripod play monitor as the same one as in the hero card. And from those, I actually like the 5th variant the most. So, and actually those colors are good too, like the muted colors. Those are the right colors. Can we use the 5th variant, except instead of a play button, do the tripod with a play button? Oh, actually, I like this one even more. Okay, I actually like the list drawer for the video picker study. The number one list drawer um, looks the best, and um, however, that's only for the adult view or the advanced child view where they can see the map. I also want something similar for the hero view. So can you expand that study with? So first of all, use the videos as you have um, in the first variant, but also sorry, and make sure to use the play tripod somewhere to make it obvious. But then also we need to expand the study to show what it looks like on the hero card for the child. Note that the grown-up videos and the child videos will never be mixed together. The child will always see their own videos, and the grown-up will see their own videos as well. Sorry, the grown-up will see their own videos and the child will see their own videos. Okay, design app. Applied. So if I go to map, and then I go to one of these, okay, and then I go to pincer. No, that's not quite. Adding up to 20. The speed of this is not. Adding up to 20. Getting started. The speed of the zoom doesn't feel good. Can you make it a little bit slower so it should like slowly zoom out, or rather, yeah, slowly zoom out until like the whole map is visible, and then start zooming in slowly. It just should be slower, okay, and a bigger zoom out, so that I can see more of the map. Before, so there should be some padding, both to so if we look at the distance between where I currently am and where my target module is, there should be some amount of padding around them rather than being just at the edge where I zoom out a tiny bit, and as soon as it enters the map, the screen, then I start zooming in. Zoom out enough that there is some padding there, just so it looks a little bit smoother, and slow down the animation. Can you use the full deep plan workflow to go through the module SDK spec, and the entire plan? Just use the full deep plan workflow for this, because it is a core SDK that will be difficult to change later. So we really want to make sure that it's going to be future proof as much as possible. Okay. All right, that's good. Their entries in master list with video modules.jsx. Okay. All right. Okay, 21 modules aren't separate files. Drawer, actions, activity. Okay, can you please move everything to TSX instead of JSX? I just want everything to be typed, strictly typed. And then the 21 modules are in video modules.jsx. So how is that supposed to work for, because it's not just video modules. I want all the modules to be there. So are you expecting to put them all in one file? I mean, that's okay. It's just going to be kind of painful to, if there's 800 of them, I wouldn't want that to be in one file. So I would want them to maybe be grouped somehow, or I'm not exactly certain, but something should be done to organize them better. Okay, and then the drawer actions study. I like the second one. That's the best one so far. But can we make it so that the icon on the video preview is not that? It should just be a normal video preview. The videos should just have, it should be called like learning videos or something, and that should have the icon. So the title should have the icon rather than each individual video. For the child's card, I don't like the card over. I like the inside of the card over a card, but I don't like the concept of putting a card over another card. And so what I would do here is, can we just fade out, animate out all the existing UI in the card, and then animate in the list of videos, and that way, that way we don't have to have one card over on top of another one, which just looks kind of janky. And then when I select the video, it's the same animation as before. So all the UI fades out, and then the card kind of zooms in and then expands to the full video. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break, go get some food, and I'll be back in a bit.